Believe it or not, when I sit down to make reviews for Marvel TV shows and movies, I have genuinely given the show the benefit of the doubt. I actually don't go in with like anti-woke mindset. I go in being like, might have some woke stuff, but as long as there's a good story there, I'll give it a try and give it the benefit of the doubt. Here we are now with Marvel's new TV show on Disney Plus, Echo. And my God, if you didn't intend to watch this, I guarantee you have made the right choice. This show is not worth your time. You are not missing out on anything worthwhile. And this is going to be my review of episode 1. I know probably someone is going to say, well, it probably gets better, but you see, the first episode establishes so many things. And all I have seen in this TV show is a lot of incompetence. I mean, Marvel is at that stage where it's just incompetent left, right, and center. And this show falls into every pitfall of Marvel's bad writing. The show starts off with, I don't even know what the hell I was looking at here. The story doesn't bother even explaining it properly to you. It kind of reminded me of, I think, was it Vampire Diaries season 7 or season 8 or season 9 or something. In Vampire Diaries season 8 or 9, there was a character called Sybil. She was like a mermaid. So when there's this scene in Echo when it starts, there's this chick who's underwater, and the way she pops out just reminded me of that chick from Vampire Diaries. There's like a whole tribe of these underwater pool people. The place starts collapsing, and there's a flash of bright light, and then boom, they're on Earth. And I'm assuming this is supposed to be the origin of the people of where Echo comes from. And just like that, that's the end of that origin story. It literally lasts 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It feels so rushed, which is basically the tone of this entire show. It feels rushed. Everything feels like it's just plot point, let's get this over with, plot point. So the origin story of Echo's people is told like a sort of like children's story time. And then comes the most annoying part of the TV show, in that you will have to watch this with subtitles on. So many characters signing. I knew it was going to have signing, but I just underestimated how much signing there would be, especially because remember, all of Echo's family, her name is Maya, knows how to sign, but remember, the rest of the world doesn't know how to sign. So I feel the TV show has sort of written itself into a corner. Your main character signs and the rest of the world doesn't know how to sign. How do they interact with her? Or maybe that's the point of the show, to show the discrimination against deaf people. I don't know at this point. There is so much pandering from Marvel nowadays. I don't know whether they're actually like trying to write a good story or just trying to pander to communities. They show how Echo loses her leg. It makes absolutely no sense because they show a piece of glass being lodged into her leg. Then they skip over literally her leg where the glass is didn't look like the leg had to be sawed off. Maybe it would have been like a paralyzed leg or something. The blood has been cut off, but it didn't look like the kind of leg that needs to be amputated. Just doesn't make any sense here. And the pacing is moving so fast. They just show her in a car accident. She loses, I think, her mom, and then after that she's in hospital amputated. What the fuck? I feel like you skipped through so much. Like, this is a TV show. It shouldn't cut so quickly over stuff. It's moving at such a breakneck speed, this TV show, to the point that I could care less. The part that I really hated the most, where you see Echo going to karate class, and then you see her about to fight with like this big black kid, and then I just love it. I love the transition. The black kid is like, "Whoa, I'm gonna whoop this small girl," and then bam, it just cuts to Echo fighting a guy who is like taller than her and bigger than her. Of course, the camera has to show her amputee leg because, you know, pandering, and like there's no need to show us the leg. We know that she lost her leg, so there's no need now to show her, right? It's just for that sweet ESG, man, you know what I'm saying? She ends up whooping a guy taller than her. Most of these scenes have no setup. They're just there to show you strong, boring woman. She goes home, she sees someone killing her relatives, who reminded me of that Avengers Endgame scene, the hooded guy with the sword. I was like, that's probably Hawkeye. There's no setup for these scenes, so it just feels like a bunch of plot happening. The one part that really annoyed me, you see the cops show up to the crime scene, right? So Maya throws a bike at this cop, and I'm like, hey, yo, what the fuck? Why? Like, why are you doing that? I get the point of the character is to show that she has rage, which now Kingpin is going to be like, take that rage and turn it into something useful. But the cops didn't do anything to you. At least if you had shown maybe the cops trying to arrest her or treat her unfairly, I would understand her fighting back. But she threw that motorbike at these cops for like no reason, just to show that she's angry now. Kingpin shows up. Thank God that Kingpin has a sign person, otherwise this scene would have been very difficult to keep watching subtitles. She goes on a mission with two of Kingpin's goons. And this is now where we have the Daredevil fight scene, which was put there specifically to bait you into watching this show. I swear. I remember in like the interviews I heard them say that this fight scene goes on for 7 minutes. That's a lie. The leaked scene for that fight scene lasts just as long as the leaked scene. There's no more, no less. The leaked scene for that fight scene is exactly what is in this TV show. It's not as long as everyone was hyping it up to be. Also, Daredevil shows up for a cheap cameo. There's this one scene where Echo fights this dude. I'm like, the dude is big. How did you look at the Echo is so small. She's able to be lifted off the ground by this dude, and then suddenly she like subdues him and snaps his neck. It makes absolutely no sense, the power dynamics between her and the men that she's fighting. You cannot show me that she's a badass enough to take on guys who are taller than her, who are stronger than her, who are faster than her. Also, that Daredevil fight scene has so many nonsensical things happen. It would be a 1 hour review if I sat down here to break down how nonsensical this fight scene is, because some scenes it doesn't even look like Daredevil is trying to hit her. She fires a shotgun. I'm pretty sure a shotgun should have been able to hit him. Nonsensical fight scene, and just like that, you do not see Daredevil again in that episode. It felt like a cheap cameo. Maybe he'll come back in episode 2. Hawkeye, with zero setup, Hawkeye reveals himself to her and says, oh, your boss is the one who wanted your dad dead. And then she shoots Kingpin, and yeah, that's the last time you'll see Kingpin until the end of the episode. It cuts to 5 months later. The breakneck speed of this show, it leaves you with zero fucks to be given. I felt like there was so much good story here. Most of this could have been fleshed out in about 3 episodes of content, but instead it's in such a rush to show you that she's a strong woman. It has no time to play out things properly. And then they have this scene where it says 5 months later, then you see she has a bullet wound. Where did the bullet wound come from? Who knows? She's a strong woman and she can persevere pain. And that's the whole point of this scene. This scene where she goes to like a cabin or something, and she goes to this house to like stay there for the night, where she will try and stitch up her wound. This guy shows up at the door, and then he tries opening the door, she closes it, and then the guy is thrown so far away that he's thrown like 2 meters away. Like, how? Like, you're telling me that she's that strong? Surely, come on. What lie is that? Come on. In the attempt to try and make her look like a badass, the story stops making sense. She ends up going to this place where people are roller skating, and you know what? The fucking convenience that the dude who's like giving shoes, the rollerblade shoes, turns out to be, I think, an assassin looking for Kingpin's killer. I mean, the fucking convenience for that to happen. Then after that, she ends up meeting some dude. At this point, the apathy has set in. I have stopped caring. And of course, you have that cringy scene where she's like, it's time for a queen. And then you see Kingpin is still alive, that through the power of convenience. I don't know, who gives a fuck. Anyway, this show is not worth your time. You will have zero fucks to give by the time the episode is done.